Hey there everybody. So this is a bike I was working on the other day. It's a road bike with 160 millimeter discs, and the customer is doing quite a bit of riding in the mountains and such, and pretty well cooked those rotors and such. But the brake is it's kind of a basic flat mount brake there. It's the standard pad. So decided to do a few upgrades here to try to get a little better cooling action on the system there. So we went with these ICE Technology brake pads and the rotors. So they've got some little cooling fins there on the pads, and then the rotor itself has basically it's two stainless slices with an aluminum sandwich, I guess, in the center. So we used the SMRT81 rotors and the LO2A brake pads there. So you can see it's specific. The BRRS 505 was the model, so fits right in there. So we went with these there. You can see the little radiator cooling fins there. So anyway, basically to bolt these things on, it's a center lock brake system. So basically you're just going to use a cassette, in this particular one, a cassette lock ring tool. Some of them will use on the bigger through axles, they'll use like a standard Shimano bottom bracket outboard bearing tool. But, you want to cinch that thing down to a range between 40 and 50 Newton meters. Once you get it on there, so pretty quick to get them on. You can see that's the old rotors. You can see how discolored. Definitely saw some heat, and pretty well just smoked them. Before you put the pads on, you're going to want to reset your pistons, because they will gradually, as the pads wear, they'll migrate inwards towards each other. So before you put the new pads in, you want to spread those things out. You can either do it with a pad spreader here or stick a big screwdriver in there. Is one way to do it. So I pulled the pin already out. Brake pads will just come right out through the top there. And then this is another way. I've got these Park needle nose pliers here that are about 10 millimeters wide. It's pretty, with that wedge shape, and then it ends up being flat. You can either go through the bottom or through the top, but just kind of work them in there and twist it back and forth a little bit. You can get those pads or the pistons reset all the way back in. So the pads there's a left and a right side, because they'll fit right into the contour of the brake caliper itself there. So I'm just taking a little pick there and lining up the pinhole. This particular one, it's got the flathead screwdriver top, and it just threads in. The other type will be an Allen bolt that threads it in, or then you just have these actually come with just like a cotter pin that you just slip in and bend the tip, and it holds it in. But I kind of like the screw ones. I think they work pretty well. You get this little clip that goes on the end just in case the screw comes loose. Pin's not gonna back off and you'll lose your pads. So I like to loosen up the caliper at this point. Flat mount, you got the bolts there just right underneath. So normally new pads, new rotor, you're good chance you're gonna want to just reset everything, make sure it was, no really guarantee it was on there in the ideal place to start with. So I usually just use a contrasting background where I could just look down at it, and I'll gradually just snug them both down, and you can manually just work it over into place. And then once you get it where you want it, just alternate the torque there on the bolts. That'll kind of keep that caliper from shifting there on you. So this is the front one there, and got it all set up. As you can see, I just laid a piece of paper down there on the ground to get it all lined up. So anyway, it came out pretty sweet. Definitely a higher performance look for sure. But yeah, I'd say if you're going to replace those pads, I'd probably go with these finned ones. Just, I don't know, they're going to work better, but I think they look cooler. But yeah, anyway, that's the final bike, the modification there, or upgrade, and turned out really well. So yeah, see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.